right?
What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. You've been back to North Carolina again today. Are you pissy? Are you pissy again?
Nah, I'm not as pissy. I got sleep last night. It's been a long fucking week, dude.
Yeah.
At work at 3 a.m. every day this week.
At work at 3?
Yeah. It's
wow.
Fucking stupid.
By choice or because you needed to?
I volunteered, but
by choice.
It was by choice. But we're doing shit on the West Coast. Sure. And they have to do it during whatever. It doesn't fucking
Left
matter.
coast work.
Left coast is the best coast. All right, housekeeping.
CQ. I know he was going to be on with us at some point. I don't think you rescheduled him yet, but he is still going to be on with us.
I bumped him for our guest tonight.
No, was it? Did you bump him for tonight?
I bumped him for tonight. Yeah.
Well.
Fuck CQ.
Get over it, CQ. Yeah. Two Brothers Podcast, Troy and Trevor, do a show, and they broadcast live Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. Trevor Jackson has his own podcast. Then you have Redneck News Entertainment and the Redneck Review Podcast. Andy Harris at the Andy Harris on Twitter has been mad lately on Twitter. I've seen his tweets. He's been very mad. So we have some T-shirts and stickers. If you want one, let us know. And then b3fpodcast.com and go rate us individually and rate the show and give us 0 to 5 I love you hands.
Tell us how much you hate us.
Tell us how much you hate us, and it is completely anonymous.
And also, like, share, and subscribe to our shit.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. I don't care if it's a 1-star review. I want people to, acknowledge my presence in this world.
So we got some other things we were talking about doing tonight, and we'll bring everybody in on that once we kind of solidify some things.
For next week, for drinking,
that's right. Go ahead. What are we drinking next week? I know
this.
You don't have a bottle.
Grab bag, motherfucker.
Well, we'll be doing it 2 weeks in a row. Since I have the week that Easy's on, the week after that, I've already bought our grab bag.
That's fine.
Liquors
but
for
I have a special grab bag that I'm going to tell you right now what it's going to be.
Okay.
So there will be 8 things since you called me a bitch last time.
Okay.
There will be a tequila,
okay,
a vodka, a gin, a bourbon, an Irish whiskey,
okay,
a liqueur of some kind, probably some flavored shit whiskey, and probably an absinthe.
Oh my God. I didn't know you could buy that in small bottles.
And it's all going to be the worst shit I can find in every one of those categories.
Okay. So that's fine.
And if not the absinthe, there'll be a wild card thrown in there.
So for the next 2 weeks, then we'll be doing
grab bag shit.
I bought enough stuff for the grab bag though, so that Gabe's in on the grab bag when Easy's in, because Easy doesn't drink. So
yeah. Okay.
So anyway, tonight we're drinking Bulleit Bourbon.
Yep.
Distilled and aged in Bulleit family tradition, Frontier whiskey.
Yeah. Frontier whiskey.
Anders picked this out. Our guest tonight is Anders Eriksen. Yeah. And here he is. Jay, we heard about some things from Anders before Jay was on, but then Jay sang his praises, and so we reached out to Anders and got him on. Anders has been Robert Englund's personal Freddy Krueger glove maker for 20 plus years. Anders Eriksen, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Well, thank you. I'm doing all right. How are you?
All right.
I appreciate you picking out my least favorite bourbon that's ever made on this planet. No, it's not that bad. I give his brother loves Bulleit, and I give him shit about it all the
time. I'm not a big bourbon guy, but I'm fine with it. So yeah. So you're saying you like what now?
Me?
Yeah. You were saying something. You said it sounded like you said I like, and then
I like Bulleit. I like bourbon. I like Maker's Mark, and we have a small, very small liquor store up here, so I had to go and see what they actually had before I could tell you what we were gonna get, because that's the luck of the draw. But I like bourbon. I like Bulleit.
So what's the bourbon out of Nashville that I actually enjoy? The
Bellmead.
Bellmead. Have you ever had Bellmead?
I'm not sure.
Right out of Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm not sure I've had that one.
I'm not a bourbon guy, but I actually enjoyed Bellmead. Pretty good. So anyway.
Yeah. But Bulleit's really bad. I will say I fucking hate their rye whiskey. But I'm not a rye whiskey fan.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Not
but
rye.
Bulleit's rye is particularly heinous.
Oh,
but I don't like Tennessee whiskey though. Not that it's the same as rye, but I don't like the sour corn mash, like the Nelson's Green Brier and Jack Daniels. And
yeah, I like Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Jack Daniels is what it is. It's Jack Daniels
It's-
mass-produced Tennessee whiskey. So
Right, exactly. It's like I don't know.
when I was in Germany a few years ago, people were blown away. Like everybody there was drinking a lot of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And I was ordering just like whatever Irish whiskey the bar had, and people would ask, like, "Where are you from?" And I'm from Tennessee. And like, "Oh, Jack Daniels." Like, actually grew up, I don't know, 50 miles from the distillery, give or take,
really?
and they were blown away. It's like Jack Daniels was a superstar to these young guys in Germany. Yeah,
he's one of the patron saints of alcoholics.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's the one that helps get alcoholics home without wrecking and killing people?
No, he's the one that facilitates.
Oh, well, my bad.
Yeah.
Didn't Jack Daniels die because he kicked his safe and then died of an infection?
Yeah, in the broken
something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
That's a great patron saint to have.
All right, so Anders, I mean, obviously, right off the top is an insane thing. Like, you are Robert Englund's personal Freddy Krueger glove maker. Is there a name specifically for that glove, or is it just called the Freddy Krueger glove?
Well, it's all kinds of different gloves. It's he has his own that I made him like I don't know 10, 15 years ago or something, that he's been using for all sorts of shows and live appearances and whatnot. But when he does shows and meets fans and whatnot, then I'm usually the one who's giving him a glove there so he can pose with his fans and all that stuff. So, and that glove can be anything, like from any of the movies to something custom. So it's just any old Freddy glove.
I thought there was a title for a maker of the Freddy gloves. I was going to say a motherfucking badass. Like,
for sure. For sure.
But you do more than that. You do a lot of other effects, prop making, things like that as well, right?
Yeah, we do all sorts of stuff, all sorts of crazy shit. My wife, she makes the werepups, for instance. These guys.
That is beautiful.
So I was looking around on that website yesterday and was like, that's simultaneously the coolest thing you could take out somewhere with you, but also just like the weirdest thing you could do. Like, and totally been made fun of in Lincoln County and Giles County, where we're from, for doing something like that. But it is. And then if you go through the website, it's got care instructions for these, so that because of the quality of everything, you don't want to degrade it or whatever. But I mean, it's the detail on those werepups is insane.
Yeah,
like
it's
just nuts.
Yeah, not to immediately take it here, but all I can think of is there's some dude. No. There's some dude buys this shit and fucks it. Like, that's the first thing that's in my mind.
I mean, sure.
No, but that's the crazy thing about it.
If you can think of it as a fetish for it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm sure.
But that's what immediately I think of most cons, Comic-Con stuff, because I mean, cosplay is amazing.
Oh yeah.
But any of those props, any of those specialty, like small, I don't know.
Yeah, I think my wife actually once had a customer and he seemed shady, and so she just declined that order straight up. So I was like, nope. So, but mostly it's women. It's mostly women who buy these and they take care of them, and they take them
Treat
seriously.
them like babies.
Yeah. I mean, they are their babies, and they're like a lot of them. Somebody recently yelled at somebody else because they hadn't put their werepup in the car seat.
Oh my God! Of course, there's a Karen in the werepup community.
Yeah. There's some fun people out there.
So what is it that the guy was doing or saying that seemed shady? Because I'm hung up on this guy. Like, what could you possibly be ordering a werepup that seems shady?
I think I don't know, but it's like sets off all sorts of red flags and alarm bells, doesn't it? Because they're supposed to be baby werewolves, so it's like animals and babies, and so it's like either way, it's like, okay, no, we're just gonna cut you right off right there. So,
what is the build process like for those? Like, how long does it take to?
Oh man, yeah, it depends. Also, like, for instance, this guy over here.
Every model has its own name, right? You guys have a name.
That's true. Yeah, like this guy. So he's got like a whole belly and everything, and it's like flawless from head to toe.
It's insanely realistic.
Yeah, and it's like, so he takes a lot of time because this is basically what he has here is it's basically the same method as wig makers do right there. If you can see it, and she punches each hair in like individually. Yeah. So like it takes a while so yeah. I mean that's what I see her do most of the day. Really, just punch in one hair at a time. Right there. Yeah.
Just a little bit more hair. My youngest.
Oh God.
He was such an ugly fucking baby.
Did he grow out of it?
Mostly.
The jury's still out.
He's getting better. Because that truck gap in his front teeth are slowly.
He's gonna be one of those guys trying to order a wear pup that they have to go. Yeah, sorry, we're all out of stock. Wait a minute. He's gonna be doing secret fingers on his wear pup.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Dude, no, he is turning in, like he's gonna be the one I'm gonna have to watch for getting somebody pregnant.
Well, if that's the worst though. Yeah, but I'm saying if that's 14? The worst thing. Yeah, but there's so much worse that could be done. Wow. But yeah.
No.
I mean, no, there is definitely worse that he could be doing at 14 than getting someone pregnant.
Kill someone?
I mean that, but I mean, you could also be, non-consensual secret fingers to people at school.
He's invented, I don't know if we talked about in the last episode, this thing that he calls, he'll come up behind somebody like this and jab you in the ass, and he calls it secret fingers. I was like, you can't do that to people.
That's been a thing in China for a long time.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, you go back in like old Chinese movies, and they. Yeah, that's a prank they do. Yeah, that's something they do.
He calls it secret fingers, 1,000 years of death.
Like yeah, well, 1,000 years of death. That sounds like something Chinese, like kung fu movie.
He's been surfing
right. Yeah.
Somewhere.
So,
well, there's that.
I wonder if you Google secret fingers and 1,000 years of death, what comes up?
I'm not Googling secret fingers.
Well, you might as well keep your safe search on.
I did Google to my regret.
Did you? Of course you did. Yeah, sure. Oh my God. So, what kind of build time goes into the nightmare gloves?
The build time is not so long. It's just the wait list because there's a long wait list. Yeah, so that's like, I mean, it goes back a long time. Because we had all sorts of shit happen in our lives, so it's like we had some setbacks, but it's like, typically. It's about 4 months for the wait list, and then I can build it in like a week. Mm-hmm. So that's typically it. So if you want to order one, then it'll be like 4 months plus 1 week, just about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's not too bad, right?
No, it's not bad at all.
Now, are they custom? I don't think that's a bad wait time at all for something like that.
I mean, they are custom, because everybody's hands are different.
Sure.
And that's like, I don't want to, there's no point in having them pre-made because some people might ask for a small one, for a size small. Somebody might ask for a size large. So like, I just build them as they come, so they'll fit. Fits like a glove.
Yeah, I read some of his bio. I read the whole bio. I don't remember any of it because I have terrible reading comprehension. But I mean, you started the whole process of being interested in building that pretty. Like far back, right? Pretty young in the process.
Yeah. That's about in the 90s, I guess. Yeah. So actually, yes.
Back when I was still kind of cool.
That was before Freddy vs. Jason hit it big. And so I was building, and that was before Facebook and all that crap. So so there was MySpace, if anybody remembers that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I met my wife. And then the email list called the Englund list back in the day, before Facebook. And then that's when I started building the gloves. I had asked my dad to build me one, and he said nope. So I started building my own. And then he said, well, might as well help him since he's going to do it anyway. So that's how the first glove was made. And then I wanted to make another one, and then another one, and then somebody else asked me to make one, and so we just never stopped, really. So it's been doing that for a long time.
So how did you get connected with Robert Englund, like to kind of be his glove maker?
That came pretty early on, because nobody. I mean, there might have been probably two other guys building gloves at the time, but for some reason, he thought, these are great, and so it was just before. It was just before Freddy versus Jason when I built his first personal glove, so to speak.
Yeah.
And before that, I had made some gloves for him to sign from his website, and they were selling super duper fast. But then his lawyer said something like, maybe it's not a great thing to sell weapons to children. So, yeah. So I was like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, so it's
how sharp are they when you send them out?
It depends on what people ask for. Some ask them for super sharp, and some ask them for not sharp at all. So it all depends.
A murder, because that's about how sharp I want this to be.
Yeah, I mean, what people do with them, that's none of my business.
Sure, absolutely.
And it's like, it's all custom, so it's like the law says that, well, once you acquire something custom made, then you know what it's for. And so the builder has no responsibility for what you actually do with it later on. It's just like, a knife maker can't be responsible for somebody killing somebody else with their knife.
Right,
so
for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not my business.
As soon as red flags start popping out, I was like, I'd like one of these custom gloves, but I need it sharp enough to break through a rib.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably not going to make this glove for you, sir.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Actually,
baby werewolves.
Yeah. I actually have this one. It might be strong enough to break through a rib.
Oh wow!
Jeez. Yeah, it's a heavy duty one.
That's awesome.
It's just the armature here, but it's pretty heavy. You can see the thickness of the blades there.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know Jay had his on and playing with it almost the entire episode. So he was all about it. And I've seen a bunch of his Instagram videos where he's just like stabbing shit with them and cutting things.
Or he's just talking, but he's wearing it. He makes no mention of it. He's just wearing it just because he just loves it.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of thing that I like. When I was like, people just fucking can't put it down. I was like, and they want to cut their pizza with it or whatever, and eat gummy bears, whatever they want to do. It was like,
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, all the crazy shit people do, like opening boxes, whatever. They, it's cool. Whatever they think is fun with it, have fun.
Yeah. What's interesting, I guess, to me about collectibles, I'm just completely blanking out. Collectibles like that, props, replicas, is like there's so much work and time and craft that goes into them, and the people that love it like truly cherish it and take care of it. And then you have other people like, well, I ain't paying no fucking $200 for that shit. I'll go to Walmart and get one. You know what I mean? And there's such a difference in the two, and it fascinates me. I guess some people's lack of appreciation, not just for this in general, but any type of replica work or of building stuff like that. Like, it ain't worth that much, but the people that love it are really, really invested. It's like collecting guitars, collecting anything else.
That's true. Yeah.
If I didn't feel like I was too old to dress up for Halloween anymore, I would absolutely order one of those.
Well, I was looking at this.
You'd be the coolest person at a Halloween party.
I was surprised. Like, I was like, I'm gonna look these up and see how much because what website was that? I don't remember.
Nightmare Gloves. What are you talking about?
There's a site, and you're listed on as one of the artists, and they sell
Trick or Treat.
Oh yeah, Trick or Treat. Yeah.
So I was just curious and flipping through some of the stuff, and I was like, it's not as expensive. Like I expected those to be like $1,000 gloves.
Yeah.
No, I mean the thing is that the Trick or Treat gloves, they're I made the prototypes, so I don't have to hand build every single one. So so all like one of these, for instance, if you can see that's hand built, and then I have the Trick or Treat ones. They come in a fancy box, which I don't do. So it's but it's great. I think they did good with these. They're a little bigger than I designed them, but they're and there's no wait time.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm
So
saying. But based off your
yeah.
prototype, it's something you essentially designed. Like I was
Yeah.
really impressed.
Mhm.
So if somebody wanted to order a custom glove for you, like what is the? I know there's variables, I'm sure, depending on what they want done. But
Yeah.
what is like the general like range for that? I mean, I'm
They
sure you get
go.
as expensive as you wanted to get, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that they are only I'm gonna say only 200
Yeah,
and like 300 to, and then a new nightmare is like $700,
that's
and
actually
then
Yeah.
and then like this one, it's a custom, and that's like $900 for this one. But
Yeah.
that's a lot of work that goes into that. So
Oh,
it
for
all
sure.
depends on how much work and time goes into them, really.
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
So
I want mine made of aluminium. No, it is no. To me, it's that type of thing is worth it if you're into that, especially somebody a skilled craft. It's like some of the knife makers, like Genius, some of his knives are like $4,000 a
Oh,
pop.
yeah.
And it's worth it to have that type of
It's absolutely
it
worth
is.
it.
Yeah.
so- or like like those creepy ass dolls that remind me of my children. Like those would absolutely be
Sure.
worth the money because there's so much. It's an art like anything else.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, especially
Custom
like
stuff.
like Jay's knives are really, and it's a lot of work because he goes in and makes every single blade himself and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like
Well, when
I
you handcraft
I
them,
don't forge the blades. I have
Yeah.
those just cut and sometimes heat treated and tempered, all depending on if the. I often ask the customer, if, like, do you want to use the blades or do you want to just have them for show, or because they also, like, people go to conventions and so they want to have a glove that's safe around people. So it's just for photo ops and stuff like that, so they don't cut somebody's face off.
right?
And
Yeah.
so it all depends. But it's like Jay, he forges the blades, and I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah, but it's a different skill set.
It is.
skill set,
It's
but it's still art.
exactly. Yeah. Just same with the
But
wear
it,
post. My wife, she makes those, and I can't do that. Like, that's her.
what's amazing to me though is because I shouldn't say amazing, but with any piece of handcrafted
Yeah.
thing, like a part of yourself, even if it's made
Yeah.
to somebody else's specifications, you're still putting your blood
Yeah.
and your sweat and tears, as cliche as that is.
Yeah.
Like you're putting part of you into every piece. That takes a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because that, that whatever you build is probably going to last longer than you are. So in a way, it's a little bit of legacy to see, like, okay, like, there might be like 20, 50 years after we're dead. It might still be around. Who knows? Maybe even longer. I mean, the silicone isn't going anywhere. That fucking lasts forever.
Yeah.
And these are fucking metal. When it's like there's stuff from 200 years ago that was made of metal that's still around. So it's like, and same with Jay Nielsen's knives. It's like this shit. It's gonna be here a long time after we're gone. So you want to, build something decent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then,
Imagine you're the fire department sorting through the rubble of a house that just burned down, and you find a Freddy Krueger glove and a wear pup.
yeah, we
I mean,
like
I really think God did this. I think this was burnt down by God. This is somebody needed to go.
like a couple of years back, our workshop burned down to the ground.
Really?
So we had the fire department there, and there were a couple of things in there that were worse than that. So we have many. I mean, we had so much shit go up in flames and a lot of work, and it took us like 2 years to catch back off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was bad because it was burned to the ground, and they think it was maybe an electrical wire that was chewed through by a squirrel, something like that. I don't know. We saw there was a small flame on top of the roof, and we had no clue where it came from, and then boom, before everything was put out, it was just flattened to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure to make some of that stuff you guys make, you definitely have a lot of flammables in there. So
yeah, the thing is that I had like oxygen tanks and gas tanks because for brazing and soldering and all and it's like I thought for sure that was gonna make a pop at least, but it's like nope, it went by totally unnoticed. I'm sure all the gases just burned out of the canisters, whatever, but nothing seemed to have really. And I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
So I was like literally just putting fuel on the fire, really, But no, it was like that was a surprise. Yeah,
Fire is honest to God some of the craziest shit
Oh, yeah.
on the
it
planet.
is.
Like
It's
in Hawaii, dude, I knew a guy's house burned down and it didn't spread, it didn't touch, and it was like close fucking houses, didn't touch either one of the other houses other than some
right.
like soot, but they didn't touch anything, and fucking his house was, like you said, just rubble, just gone.
Yeah,
Like,
it
how
was
the fuck
weird.
does that
Yeah,
even happen?
the same thing with the workshop. It was just like we're close by. We live right next to it, and sure, our walls got singed, but the most of the damage inside the house was done by the fire department because they had to break down the walls to make sure there wasn't any like embers or lingering flames or anything like that
Right.
that would catch back up. So they tore the shit down, but it was just the workshop, and it was like you can almost see like grass right next to it, but it was weird. Yeah. But we had a silicone parts in the fire that survived, and they were just blackened. Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah.
Firefighters going, hey, you gonna do anything with this? What if I take this with me? I tried to order one of these one time. You wouldn't let me. Oh God. So you've made you and I guess you and your wife do a lot of work on a lot of things together as well. I mean, right. And so what are some of the cooler things you guys have made? I mean, obviously you've got the nightmare gloves, you've got the wear pups, but outside of those two things that we've talked about, like what are some of the cooler things you guys have made, whether you made it to sell to like just your run of the mill me or Steven that wanted something crazy, or that you've done for a prop for a movie or a TV show or something like that? What's some of the cooler things you guys have done?
I think that we're scheduled to shoot Subspecies 5 in Serbia this year. And that's a vampire movie series directed by Ted Nicolau. So we're looking forward to that. So we're going to work on that. But we worked on a movie called Hogmaw like years back. And that's probably one of the coolest things because we made like a giant boar faced man, and he so we made the whole mask and his hoof hands and stuff like that, and designed the costume, and that was fun. And then we're working on pitch for one of a movie that she wrote a script to that we're hoping that will be picked up by somebody because that would be the coolest thing ever for sure.
Yeah.
So,
but have you ever made anything for Jason Statham?
I have not. No, I could knit him a hat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
unless it's like some chest hair plugs. I think that's about all the props that he would do.
I like it, but no, never.
I love me some Statham. He's no Ryan Reynolds, goddammit. But
no, I never made anything for him either.
Yeah. So the hog faced man costume, that's something you guys made that someone actually had to like put on and act in, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
It
was a giant pig man who went around and smashed people with a hammer. But yeah, it was filmed in Pennsylvania also. I think, yes. And then we made a torso that got split in half by a chainsaw.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. All sorts of shit went into that. Yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting a ton of shit, but yeah,
So
every now and then.
No, go ahead, man. I'm sorry. We got just a minimal delay just with the broadcast. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, no, I was trying to think of different shit, but I can't really think of anything right now. I might think of it later.
Yeah.
Now, I was just going to ask you, when you're making a prop like a pig mask or something that somebody's going to be wearing in for acting that's a little more involved, like what kind of? Because I would imagine there's a lot of considerations other than making it look fucking cool, right? It has to be somewhat functional. They have to be able to breathe, like things like that. Does that make that process for designing a little more challenging, or is that usually one of the easier parts of the design?
I mean, for the subspecies thing, for instance, we need to take a live cast for the makeup appliances, and the actor he wasn't too happy about having his life cast taken. And in that case, it's hard. So if we have a willing victim, that'll sit still and can cover their heads completely, then we're happy, because it'll make our job easier. But in this case, it's a sort of, in the Hogmaul case with the pig mask, it was a sort of loose fitting mask. So it was like we just like put some padding in there because it was a big head. And then it was just like big floppy jowls and shit. So
that's cool.
It was easy and fun.
I've always wanted to have a face cast done. I saw that on some movie documentary I saw, or behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, that looks fucking awesome.
I'll probably do that for you when we get done tonight.
I don't want your mask.
Oh my bad. So you said the guy wasn't too keen on that. Like, was it a claustrophobic thing? Like Steve was saying?
Yeah, it's a bit of an anxiety and claustrophobic thing, I think.
Okay.
Some people do have that. And then some people just like, oh, it feels like I'm at the spa, and it's all different what people think. There's one guy, he fell asleep during live cast, and we thought we'd killed him. He was just like, and Aisha, she was like, dude, he's not responding. Like, what? And he was a drunk, he was like an alcoholic guy. So it was like, so we were like, shit, is he dead? He wasn't. So he was just real asleep.
I had heard a story about, and what's the guy in Dumb and Dumber? Not Jim Carrey. What's the other guy's name? Jeff Daniels. I couldn't think of his name. Anyway, he was on Saturday Night Live, and they had to do a cast of his face for a costume or something like that. And they didn't put whatever they had to on, like, I think his eyebrows and maybe his beard. They just forgot to put something, and so the cast stuck. Oh, and they had to get like a surgeon or somebody to come in and cut the shit off of him or whatever. Like,
oh shit.
They said he was cool about it. He didn't freak out or anything, but it's still one of those things where, like, they had to try to get in to make sure he could actually breathe more than you would normally be able to, because he was wearing that thing for hours at a
hilarious.
time. Yeah, it's insane. But said he was cool. Sport was over with. Like, he was fine with it. Went ahead and did whatever he had to do, but lost it. I think he lost his eyebrows and some of his beard. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, that would be an interesting. I'm a touch claustrophobic. Like, I hate being in a crowded elevator. Like, can't be crowded. And or like wrapped up in it. Like, if I get wrapped up in a sheet and I wake up in the middle of the night like that, I don't like it. I don't freak out, but I don't like it. But I kind of think that might be relaxing to have a casting done of your face where you just lay there and just, because it's not like you can't move your arms or legs or anything. Right. I mean, and whatever, people have different anxieties.
But a lot of times when it starts closing in around the nose, though.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it would. I don't know, but that just. Like, to not be able to see anything.
You keep the eye, the nostrils,
sure,
the nostrils free, because you do need to breathe.
Yeah,
there's, but I think that I think it's often that when people they have a full head cast, it's probably sometimes I think it's the ears, because you all of a sudden you think you maybe lose a little bit more of a connection with the outer world,
right?
So because of the eyes. Also, this guy, he couldn't have his eyes cast. So it's kind of like not the eyes, not the mouth, not the nose. So it's kind of like that kind of makes up the face. So
you can do my cheeks and forehead.
And my chin. Yeah.
I can see that, though, like with if your eyes, because there's pressure, right? There's weight.
Sure.
So if you got that and your ears, like I could see it would probably amplify, and your mouth, it would amplify the feeling of having your head crushed. Yeah. We used to play a game when I was a kid. We just called claustrophobia. And you know those eggshell mattresses? Like things. So one of us would lay on one end and roll yourself up in it. So you're like that with just your head out, and the other person would sit on you. And it was whoever could fucking last the longest up in that shit.
Yeah.
And when nobody could time out, then you started putting on more clothes, like get in a sleeping bag and then get wrapped up in it.
The stuff people did before the headphones to sit on all day long.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We also had those cheap Joe helmets and stand at one in the hallway. And then you'd make a rubber band, like string, and tie it by the doorknob behind the person, and just fucking shoot shit down the hallway and go for the nut shots. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good time.
What was I gonna say? Do you remember the game like
Fuck Among Us?
Do you remember the game where you'd like take a bunch of deep breaths and stand up, and then somebody would like basically crush your windpipe until you passed out? And we thought that was the coolest shit. I was like, I totally blacked out that time, dude. I totally blacked out. We did some crazy shit growing up, especially in the South, especially in the small town as well. But, oh, yeah. No goat was safe.
And hardly any brain cells was lost.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
sure. That's why we haven't quite rose again yet.
Well, I think one of the pinnacles of my dumbassery, and I was about my son's age, like 10, is I had heard that if you took like a Coke bottle or a Pepsi bottle and you inhaled a lot, you could pass out because of the carbon monoxide.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they meant a 2-liter bottle that was flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a little glass
A
Coke
glass
bottle,
one.
and I was sucking on it, and all of a sudden my tongue went all the way to the fucking bottle. And my mom thought I was kidding around. She was like, "Get that off your mouth." I was like, "I can't." And she reached over and just yanked that son of a bitch, and it didn't come loose. Like it pulled me off, and I bled. And I finally she had to go pulled over, and she grabbed it, held it, and then had to stab my tongue with her finger to get an air pocket and pull it off,
break the suction,
and then beat the shit out of me for making her pull over.
With the bottle, probably.
No, man, I just got the ass bank, but still, god damn it.
Oh my god, Jesus!
Right?
Oh god.
I just derail everything.
No, you didn't. I'm just imagining grabbing a bottle.
Yeah, I think we are all. Yeah,
pulling the tongue out of their mouth, and then beating them afterwards.
Well, she told me if I have to pull over, I'm gonna whip your ass. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just thought you liked the image of 10-year-old me with a bottle going. Oh.
I've seen 40-year-old you doing that. I don't care. Oh god. So let's see if I can steer us back on track now, asshole.
Good luck.
Oh, Secret Fingers from
Naruto.
Yeah, and Jude's super into Naruto right now, so that makes sense.
Gotcha. How many other ways are you going to say that wrong?
I have as many.
You said it twice wrong both times.
I don't care.
So,
and I like that he just said, "See if he gets back on track," and he just goes, "I doubt it."
Yeah,
so,
I doubt it too. It's hard
Thanks.
to do. It's hard to do. Yeah. Oh my god. So, what was it about like the night? Because I read some of this in your bio and probably I think there's probably another interview with you. But like, what was it about Nightmare on Elm Street that just hooked you in? Because I don't remember how old I was when it came out. It scared the shit out of me at first when I was young and saw that, and then but it seemed like eventually it became quite campy as it went along. But you still had your diehard fans. But what is it about that hooked you?
That's a good question. I remember in school because the first movie that came out in theaters in Denmark was the third one. So we didn't get the first one or the second one in the movie theaters, and it was like what was it called? It was called Morderiske Mareridt in Denmark, and that means like basically nightmares that want to kill you. And there was the third one was the first one to be aired in the theaters, and I heard the stories about it when it was in school. They're like, oh, there's this, and people didn't know that he was burned. It was like they thought he was some disfigured old guy. And it's like there's this disfigured old guy, and then he makes like marionettes out of people and shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck is that movie? So that sparked my interest, and then watched that, and then the fourth one, and then after the fourth one, went back, and then I bought the first one as a Christmas present to my brother, actually, because I wanted to watch it. And so then I just like put it into, back then it was a VHS, so when you got a VHS tape in the mail you had to check and see if it actually worked, because VHS was crap. And then so like, oh, and then the first scene was him building the glove, and for some reason that just hooked me, like, and I can't say why, but it's like, well, right then and then it was like I knew I was going to build my own glove because the instructions are right there, right?
Yeah.
So, so basically,
cool.
Started. Yeah, that was a hook right there. And if it hadn't been for that opening scene, I don't think it would have done it.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's just like there's something there. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a captivating movie, for lack of a better word, because I went back in preparation for this, and I was going to watch all of them, but I got sidetracked. But I did rewatch the first one.
Yeah.
And like, other than, special effects calibers, the movie fucking
It holds
up.
Absolutely.
And it was really at the time one of the first kind of genre bending where like this dude could fucking kill you in your sleep. You weren't safe in your fucking bed. Even if you were like half asleep, it was like the concept of it is fucking horrifying. And as a kid, especially, like I said, it was so well done. I was like, man, I forgot like how good, like, special effects shit aside.
Sure,
and even them at the time, the practical effects were fantastic. But yeah, it held the fuck up.
And that's exactly one of the things that I really like is that because there are so many mass killers out there, you know, and I like them. I like slashers. I like slasher genre a whole lot, and that's what made me make masks. That was mostly the slashers and all that shit. But there's something that's so much more creative than that in the Nightmare series.
Mm-hmm.
He can bend reality because it's in dreams, so there is no real set rules. And so I think it's not to be too hoity-toity, but it's like it's artsy, you know. It's like there's a whole very imaginative Dali style creative weird imagination going on that's very much in our dreams, because when we wake up we think, what the fuck was that about? We dream some weird shit, but in the dream it makes sense.
Right.
And I think
the premise of that can follow you out of your dream. You know what I mean? Like that crazy shit that happens can come back with you. Like that was, I don't know. Yeah. The premise is just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That has never been done before, to my knowledge, and certainly not as well. The whole thing where you get cut in the dream, you get cut in real life.
Yeah,
it's scary because you're not in control in your dreams.
Or like the first in the scene where she is in the hospital and doesn't realize and takes off, and then but she comes back, her fucking his hat's in the bed, and she realizes she can bring shit with her intentionally. That shit was so fucking cool. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, I just remember hearing people talk about some of the others, like it's so stupid because like you look and like his arms grow really long, whatever. Like it's a fucking dream. Crazy shit happens in your dream. No shit, his arms get really long. It's a dream, of course. So I don't know. I
it's just not realistic,
right? Of course, it's not realistic. A guy was burned to death and managed to live long enough to make a glove and whatever. But it's one of the few movies from back then that kind of stuck with me as I got older and kind of learned to appreciate and rewatch as an adult. Honestly, Nightmare on Elm Street still stands out as I guess the iconic movie from my childhood that really, like he said, holds up still, but I learned to appreciate it more later in life than when I was young. But
what's interesting to me though about the Nightmare on Elm Street movies though is towards the later ones, they didn't. Campy is the wrong word, but they didn't take themselves as seriously later in the series, but they held on to what they did well for the bulk of the series. Whereas like Friday the 13th, the first like 3 were fucking on point, and then they became like, okay, we expect titties, we expect crazy murders, and we expect some fucking going on. Like those were, and so that was consistently in every movie, and they still enjoy them for what they were, but they became a caricature of themselves, like in the movies. And I feel like that Friday the 13th, they checked some boxes, but it wasn't until much later in the series where they realized that people just love this because it's awesome. And, you know, whatever.
It's a great concept. Yeah.
I like the Friday movies for a different reason. You know, like you said, basically like 1, 2, 3 could almost be like totally different movies. Then from 4 and then on, but then at 6, then they realize, hey, we're being silly. You know, I was like, let's have fun with this. Yeah. And then they have all these little in jokes in there, like, you know, the kids asking each other, so where are you going to be if you grow up? You know, and stuff like that. And like, they know that they're silly now. They're, you know, and then the 7th one goes back to being original. And then there's some really cool shit going on. And then which one's the 8th one? Is that the one in Manhattan?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Jason X Manhattan,
yeah.
yeah, and that again, there's a little bit of tongue in cheek when he goes by the hockey hall and then he sees a big hockey mask, and he like turns around like, what the fuck? So there's all these different things. And that's what makes it fun because, they first were serious and then there was like a transition period where like, okay, what the hell are we doing here? And now it's just
Right.
like you said, they're the stupid teens getting killed because they show their titties or whatever, and then they realize, okay, this is stupid. Let's have fun with it, and then they get back on track, I think.
Right. Well, I'd read for the first few that the first one was done on a budget. They didn't expect to have more, and so they were just kind of making shit up as they went along.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say though that Jason X is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. Like, I fucking hate that. Like, I love it for its own shittiness, but oh Jesus Christ!
Where do you stand on Jason in Space?
That's Jason X.
Is that Jason X?
Yeah.
That is, yes.
Completely different title. Okay.
No,
Because you have Jason Goes to Hell, then you had Jason
I forgot
X,
about that.
and then Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, Jason X is such a piece of shit. It's amazing. It's an amazing piece of shit, but it's a
I hate that one for a whole new reason recently. Because I had to sculpt a Jason X Uber mask for somebody who makes Jason masks, and he asked me to sculpt one, and it was like the biggest pain in the fucking ass.
Was it the metal like future one?
Yeah. It was like that one. It like took me a fucking year, and then like so like you sculpt it. It's like, okay, well on there it's like proportion is somewhat off. I was like, gotta start over, otherwise it'll go crazy. Then I started again. Then there's all these little stupid V-mark vent holes or whatever they are, breathing holes in his mask, and then there's like, I hate sculpting robotic shit, and it's like I took it on as a challenge, and it's like, all right, I gotta get out of my comfort zone, try something new, and then like it was a lesson. I was like, never again, nope. It's like, screw that. I'm gonna stay in my comfort zone. Yeah.
That's one thing I will say. Like, you're talking about not making like robotic things. Like, all of the stuff that I've seen anyway that you and your wife make have a very organic feel to them.
Yeah.
There's no.
Thank you. Yes.
It's very tactile. You know what I mean? It's not like nothing looks produced or built.
Sure.
Tactile is my big word for the day.
Is it?
Yeah.
No,
thank you. I appreciate that because that's very much. That's how we feel about it.
Yeah.
It really is, because I like to have my gloves look organic in a way, because I want it to look crude and handmade and dirty, and so it was used, and it shows life,
Well, that's the essence of a Nightmare on Elm Street glove, right? Is it's been used in nefarious purposes, and all this other stuff, and you don't want to look like that you bought one off a shelf.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think so too, and I see a lot of other glove builders out there, and it's like, yeah, they look all neat, and sure, they might be put together well. I don't know. I've only ever, I don't remember why, I bought someone else's glove a while back, and I was like, wow, it was like flimsy, and
right.
It was a piece of shit, and it looked so fake. And it didn't look used or real or anything. And it's just like one of those things. Speaking of shitting on over somebody's work, but I don't remember who it was. But yeah, it's just like you realize what's really important, And that
when
is
you want an authentic replica piece, you want it to look fucking authentic. You don't want it to look like something that was just thrown together. Like,
right.
Again, seeing a lot of the stuff that you've done, it's holy shit. Like, it looks like it was probably used to murder somebody in a movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Thank you. Yes, and that's the thing. Is actually that's very on point, because some people say like, well, I made it just like in the movies. I'm just like, yeah, but in the movies, it's a prop. It was just meant to be seen on screen and not felt, or maybe even last for a week.
Right.
I build them so you feel like you stand here with Freddy Krueger's own glove, if he was real. I think that's the point of it to me.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole bringing that concept into, like you said, a tangible reality form.
Right.
So if you were to actually get Freddy Krueger's glove, I mean, you fucking have his glove, as opposed to,
right. the more we talk about this, the more it makes me want to order one of these gloves. It makes me want to own one of these gloves, honestly.
What kills me, I don't know, anybody that can build and craft shit. It amazes me because I have zero visual creative skills. As far as my wife's a painter and let's sketch. She's a goddamn good artist, but
Nice.
I have no vision. Like I can't interpret anything from my head onto a page or build something. I tried to sculpt one time and it was just a fucking
dick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's about all I can do is make.
I got you.
It's just I don't have the skill set. Is not in my head.
I got you.
And to me, it's cool. Like what you and your wife do. You're obviously people that you've put in the work and you've honed your skill set, but you don't do things like that just from learning the technical skill. I mean, it's got to be something that
something you believe.
You believe in, that you're gifted with.
Yeah,
it has to be something, a part of who you are to be able to.
That's a passion project.
Yeah, it's true though, because if we can get an order for something, right, and it might even be that hard, but if we really, really don't like it, and then we took the order anyway for some stupid reason, then it'll take us forever to actually do it because we just can't bring ourselves to do it. Yeah. And it's because that's a problem. If it is that we're not just craftspeople, we're unfortunately we're also artists, and we can't fucking just say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to work and build this today." But like, oh, I have no inspiration. Shit,
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that sometimes. And they can be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. I have a buddy of mine. I say a buddy, a guy that I know. I throw the word around buddy for people that I'm acquainted with, but
because you feel less lonely that way.
Yeah, Joey's my only actual friend. But he's a producer and owns a studio in Nashville, and he will only work with bands that he likes. He will not, like, as much as he could make double the money he's making. He's like, no, if I don't like your fucking music, that I'm not doing shit.
Right.
Because he's like, I won't do a good job.
Yeah.
And he goes, I want to make the products I can, and if I make a shit record, it looks bad on me.
Yeah.
So
right. It's true.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I was like years back, I was a comic book artist, and it's like in order to survive that and actually stay in business, you got to either create and write your own shit, which I'm not a writer, or draw for other people, and chances are that when you draw for other people, that their stories are going to suck a little bit, and then it's going to be hard, So it's like it's not something I could do. I couldn't continue. So even though I think that's smart to not work on stuff you don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it, then do it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, there's times in life where you don't have the choice, but if you get to the point where you can make those choices, because I feel like you're going to produce better work if it's something you're really that you really love or you're inspired by doing.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing that Jay actually talked about. How about like he gets bored of doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I feel that way too. Is like, and I totally get it, because he says, yeah, it's smart to make these whole big batches of knives or whatever, and then sell them and then say here, and then you make a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not for everybody. I can't do that either. I think it's really cool when people have their product all lined up and says, oh, I'm going to paint all these.
Yeah.
And they're all going to look the same. And there's going to be 25 and you can buy them now. And I'll make lots of money. And I was like, no, you can't fucking do that. It's boring.
Right.
And so we don't make as much money. But hey, priorities, I guess.
But I also think picking and choosing those things makes the times when, because everything you do that's your income, your job, whatever, eventually at some points it just feels like your job. But being able to pick and choose those things and being passionate about what you do makes those times probably not as bad and not last as long, I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, my job will never feel like it's something, and I like my job, but it'll never feel like, something I'm passionate about. I don't go to work and like, God, I'm ready to
I've lost
today.
all my chances to do all the things that I want to do.
Sure,
so I've just resigned myself to, whatever.
Right.
And until my career
this is your passion project.
This is all I have, and
which is sad.
I
don't
hate
put a lot
it so
into
much. No.
Yeah, but you might have like job security and shit like that.
Yeah, no,
sure,
and that is true. Like, I'm grateful for that. Like, I talk a lot of shit about it, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am grateful for the position that I'm in. But I started like any creative endeavors. I was, because of some, younger choices and things, like it was my late 20s before I started like really getting into any type of creative endeavors that I put time and functionality into it. And by that time, I had a kid and other shit going on. And so I couldn't, I didn't have the time. My excuse was I didn't have the time and the money, and, and I wasn't really good at any type of, I would probably be dead or at least like spending a lot of money on cocaine and heroin. So it's probably a good thing that it didn't go that route. But
yeah, probably.
How many venereal diseases do you have? All of them? Okay, cool.
Collect them all.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I still have my chance to be an MMA, the greatest UFC fighter.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can get that chance. Yeah.
Dude, if I got hit in the face right now, I would be hurt for days. Like I would not come back.
At least days. At least. Yeah. Oh God.
My knees hurt walking up the stairs these days.
So this popped in my head just a couple minutes ago. We were talking about, jobs and making money. And like you said, because you pick and choose, you don't make as much money as you could doing it, but you love the work you do, which is a trade-off. And I completely get that. But like growing up where we grew up, had we decided at a young age, I want to make Freddy Krueger gloves and props and stuff for movies the rest of my life, I don't know what your parents would have done, but my dad would have said, you'll never be able to make any money doing that. How could you possibly, how is there possibly,
yeah.
From Mark, a lot of other countries don't view jobs the same way that we do in the States, and they definitely not quite the same in the South. I mean, it's very like you pick a career, you go to college or you go to a trade school and you go and you make money, and you got to pick a career where you're going to make a lot of money for the most part and be able to take care of your family and all this. It's a big emphasis. It wasn't my family, a big emphasis on what career path you chose. And I fucked that all up. That's why my dad doesn't love me. But I mean, but like when you decided this is what I'm going to do, like how did you were an adult at the time, right? When that happened, a young adult, but
young adult, yes.
What was the response of your family on something like that?
They were always really supportive. They were like,
damn it, I knew
seriously.
you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's like it's true. They probably should have said, "Hey, man, you gotta think smart. Gotta have something to fall back on."
You're going to meet a lot of really cool people, but you're not going to be able to take them out to dinner.
Yeah, right. It's true. You can barely even take myself out to dinner. But it's like, yeah, it's true though. But no, my parents were always super duper supportive. It's actually kind of crazy. Even to this day, like my dad passed away, but my mom always said like he was always really proud of me. So it's like sure, I have achieved stuff. Sure, I have mass-produced items through Trick or Treat Studios now. That's a big milestone. And I have my gloves on Robert Englund and thousands of pictures from all sorts of different events. It's been on TV a bunch of times, and so that's like there's lots of stuff to be very happy about. But it's true as a solid career choice. I wouldn't recommend this for anyone. It's kind of crazy because it really is, and it's like I don't know what my parents were thinking. But it's like, hey, I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing, but it's like it's true. It's like, man, it sure ain't solid.
Actually, I know a lot of people that are full time in any type of artistic field will say the same thing. Like they're grateful to be doing what they're doing, but they're like, yeah. But there's times
you're never gonna be rich.
Well, mostly,
yeah. Because like when you do stuff like this, it's like 1% who will hit home and work on something really big, where it'll take off for some odd reason. And I actually think that my wife is way more likely to be that person than me, because people go fucking nuts over wear pups. So I think that once they become available and through Trick or Treat Studios, because Trick or Treat Studios also picked up wear pups, they're working on the prototype now. Oh, wow. I think that they might be, the next big thing. I don't know, like Cabbage Patch dolls, whatever they're called. Yeah. So
how does that work when you guys do a prototype for Trick or Treat Studios? Is that a one-time thing where they purchase this prototype from you, or do you get a cut of everything they sell that's made off of that prototype? How does that work?
yeah, they we get a royalty for every one that's sold, and then they reimburse us for the parts and all that stuff. So it's a collaboration where we talk about which ones would be best and whatnot, what they want, and then so we try to send them what they need so they can recreate them, and it's fun. It's a fun process. They're real nice people too. So
yeah, do you think they'll be able to reproduce the Were Pups with as much as your wife does?
it's gonna. I'm waiting. We're waiting to see the prototype.
Do you guys have the right if they produce a shit product based off of it? Do you guys have the right to go? No, I don't want you doing that, or name it something.
Not
different.
after you sell it.
Sure, not after you sell the prototype, but I don't know what you got worked out with them up front. But.
I mean, it's gonna be the same sculpt as Asia did, so it will be using that same sculpt. The things where I can see it being different is the rooting, the hair, because she puts a lot of time into doing the hair just perfect. Sure. So they might come up with a method that's not as meticulous.
Yeah.
And then the paint job. And then I can think that maybe some fans will buy them because they're going to be like a fraction of a handmade one.
Sure.
That's what
and then repaint them themselves.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Well, that's the interesting thing about that market. Like, to me, being able to get the royalty and stuff, because everything I looked at on their website, they don't doesn't look like they sell anything that's just fucking shit, right? So the people that still want the authenticity of the handmade product are still going to come to you guys, but the people, like you said, that want that the fraction of the cost but still want it. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard.
Yeah. Also, like my wife, she also has. Sorry, I was cutting you off.
No, I was just gonna say, and I'm pretty sure if they made complete shit, you guys would probably be like, yeah, we don't want our product out there looking like complete shit.
Yeah, we will say something. But you've seen the Chucky dolls and the Gizmos. They're great. And that's sort of like the closest thing they got. And I saw just recently they came out with Ghoulies. And there's some that have hair on them. I think they just made latex though. But but these are, as far as I've been told, the Werepo is going to be in silicone. So that's we're looking forward to it. I mean, they've seemed pretty reasonable, and they seem to really put a lot of effort into making it right. So
otherwise, you may have to tell them, all right, you're gonna have to call these like full moon dogs or something, full moon baby dogs or something. I can't call them Were Pups. Oh, so I tell you what. You want to take we're about an hour in.
If he's cool hanging out,
yeah, you cool to hang out. We're gonna take a break about 10 minutes. So yeah, we'll take a break about 10 minutes and do whatever you need to do, and then we'll be back.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey everybody, we'd like to take a minute to tell you about a really cool podcasting app called Stitcher Premium.
Yeah, Stitcher Premium is, like you said, a free app, and they've got everything you could look for: true crime, comedy, pop culture, The Office ladies. I think Conan O'Brien's podcast is on there. There's lots of things on there.
And archives of all those things.
Oh, yeah. And smart lists.
Yeah, the smart lists. That's what I was about to say, you fuck. Smart lists basically will watch what you're listening to, or listen to what you're listening to, use some fancy algorithms, and make recommendations on shit that you already like.
Yeah, so if you go to Stitcher.com/premium and use the code B3F, you can get a month free. So it's $4.99 a month, or $34.99 if you pay for a full year. But use the code B3F and you'll get a free month.
Check it out. So welcome back. Saw you checking out the glove there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's so cool.
They even sound amazing. All the metal parts click.
Yeah. This one's the heavy one.
Yeah. It's so great.
It makes They make my butthole tingle just a little bit.
What was
not even a lot.
What was
Oh.
I know it's all. I'm seriously like I may ask my wife to get me one for Christmas.
Yeah. No, I had a supervisor in the military, and he would always say, "It makes my butthole moist with anticipation."
Actually, no. Father's Day is before Christmas. I'm gonna tell my kids, get me one that says B3F on it for Father's Day. God, there's something else I was fixing to say. No, I was fixing to say. What was the name of the Rick and Morty Freddy Krueger knockoff character they had? What was it? Scary Terry. Are you Rick and Morty? You watch Rick and Morty?
I am. Yes, we love Rick and Morty.
What did you think about that episode?
We loved it. I mean, it was great. Yeah, we loved it. Yeah. It's like it's such a great spoof on Freddy. Just like he has to say "bitch" all the time. It was like, and when he's like touched, he says, "Oh, bitch." You know?
No, it was really, and I don't think people realize. I don't think that they were like just trying to completely make fun of the genre. I think
they loved it. I think it shows that they actually do love Freddy. I think I think so too. Yeah, it was done perfectly. Because
brilliance of Dan Harmon too. Like we threw in the Inception idea into. That's fucking great.
Yeah, my wife got me the was it my wife? I think it was my wife who got me the Scary Terry T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My brother or my wife.
So I see
in Tennessee they could be the same.
I got it for Christmas. I like it.
I got this from my brother's wife. It's legal now.
I think that's more a thing in the South, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I see. It's a strange thing, like the South or whatever. Like, you never hear anyone rave about the American accent, like the accent of like people in the U.S. like, oh, I love a British accent. Oh, I love an Australian accent or whatever. No one ever says that about the American accent, and they even go to the opposite end of the spectrum if it's a Southern American accent. Like it's an automatic assumption of racism and incest and stupidity and incest. It's the worst of everything. But
in all fairness, it's not always wrong.
It's not always wrong, but I'm just saying those things.
Okay, I think that it's an image you kind of like because because it's there's something in there in movies and all that stuff. It's like there's something in there. It's like, and I hear a bunch of people from the South, and they're like, "Yeah, we kind of like that," you know. And it's like there's something where you know it's not true, but you kind of like the image.
Yeah.
Well, right? Definitely like it when we catch you off guard and we actually have a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, well, I think there's this weird Southern pride thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like people from Texas, except, in a whole, region. And then there is, I think a lot of Southern people don't consider themselves to be stupid. You know what I mean?
No. Right. We created a club for the South. I mean, it's called the KKK. And I mean, like, we're really proud of things in the South. Yeah.
No,
one might call it nationalism.
But I've never thought about that. But there is a certain amount of Southernness. They embrace that. Mm-hmm. I've never really thought about that. But yeah.
I mean, personally, I think there's a lot of great stuff in the South, and I think that's like being from Denmark. I look at all the different parts of the United States, and I think that there's so much cool shit going on in all these different parts. I think that the ones that are really stupid, right? The ones that you got to be careful of are the ones who have an AR-15 that still live in their mom's basement. No matter where, in what state, it's like those are the people you got to be careful of. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's like it doesn't matter where in the country they live, but that seems to sort of feel like
Well, it's
my apologies to everybody who may have an AR-15 and live in their mom's basement. Like,
but we're watching you, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the country, I mean, your coastal states, and especially like your New Yorks and LAs and Seattles and Portland, some of those like really look down on the rest of the. I mean, because you have the South, it's just a bunch of races, and then you have the flyover states, and it's like, but there really is so much cool shit.
Yeah,
that's not on a coast.
No, there's a lot of great shit.
Where you want to visit on a coast.
Yeah, I mean, it was like in 2001, I think, before 9/11. I went from Boston on a road trip to LA and back again through all the different states.
Yeah.
And a friend had rented a car, and I got to see it. And we went through all these states and saw all these different places. And there's so much cool shit. And there's so many different kinds of nice people and weird people. And it's like, there's a lot of great shit out there that you really have to.
Well, even when you're just driving, there's some beautiful landscapes throughout the country. You accidentally see these places when you drive across the country or something like that.
Right.
And it really, I don't know, it is. But I mean, so you said Denmark, whatever, like
he's a Denmarkian.
You're doing better than most people and say Dutch. Yeah.
I said I don't know if it's Dutch. I didn't say he's Dutch.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's not Dutch.
Sure right or not, but it's Dutch. But I also said I know it's not Denmarkian.
I know that's specifically why.
No. Yeah.
No.
What is the technical term? Or
Dane.
What Dane. That's
I
right.
did say that.
Why the fuck did I not think of Dane?
Yeah.
Because I'm from the south and
Danish.
I don't know any better.
I said Danish. Raspberry to be exact. No,
the world stops at the coast of North Carolina. God damn it!
No, so what? I mean, in all the countries, like all the European countries, we had Christian from Sweden on here, and he kind of explained like the size of Sweden compared to parts of the U.S. And I mean, we have states bigger than some of the countries that are over. Europe and then traveling farther that way. I mean. And is Denmark, is that considered a European country? What is that?
It is, yes.
I thought so, but I didn't want to.
It's European, specifically Scandinavian.
Scandinavian's the word I couldn't think of just a minute ago.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. But that's only a small part of Europe. That's only like Sweden, Norway, and Denmark.
Yeah.
So, but we're all part of Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. The best looking people in those countries. Yeah.
I know.
Compared to states, what's the size of Denmark?
It's about Connecticut.
In landmass and in population.
About 9 inches.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the population, but about the size, landmass is Connecticut.
Wow, that's much smaller than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've heard that my whole life.
Yeah, you lied. You said 9 inches.
I was talking
Yeah. Okay. What is the population of Denmark?
I think it's about
compare.
It's 9 inches.
Yeah, 9 inches. All right. Good. Okay, I can take 9-inch population.
No, I think it's what is it? 6 million.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Yeah.
I was like, I know. Like, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So you've got a bunch of other props behind you. Are those something you guys have created?
Or is actually, this one in particular, I want to give a little shout out to that one. Camp Killer. It's a movie that you can rent. I think it's on Prime.
Nice.
That's the killer's mask in the movie. It's actually the actual mask worn in the movie.
Oh wow.
I'm borrowing that right now because I'm gonna make some reproductions, but it's this is the mask that's in the movie, and so it's it's fun. You should check it out. Camp Killer. It's like a sort of like chill, campy, tongue-in-cheek slasher movie.
Tonight. I may watch that.
Yeah,
tonight.
you should. Yeah, it's good. It's it's got the first Jason in it also, like Ari Lehman.
Oh
yeah, his little boy that jumped out of the lake in the first one. Yeah, he's in it, and a couple more. I forget, but it's they're all friends of mine. But it's good. You should check it out for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty original. I like it.
Okay.
I also see the Freddy Krueger sweater behind you.
Yes,
and it makes me makes me want to ask you, like, how much of your regular life does Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street infiltrate?
A lot.
I assume that you have the sweater
Yeah,
hanging up behind you because I want to
it's a
believe
lot. Yeah,
that was there
It's-
already, and you didn't just right before we came on just hang that sweater up there.
we
That's
have
what I want
we
to
have
believe.
usually we have 2 gloves and a Freddy head hanging in the living room, an Elm Street sign. We have Freddy hanging on that wall over there. We have a carpet that's a big Freddy glove, and we have a little replica of the Nightmare House in the bedroom. We also have a Freddy blanket, and it's just like it's everywhere. We love Freddy. It's
awesome.
forever, always.
Do you dream about Freddy Krueger?
No, I do not. I did once when I was a kid, but it was all rainbows and sunshine. So, so it's
Running
like,
hand in hand with Freddy through the
yeah, almost, yeah. It was kind of
So
like
what,
that.
what did you
So
think of the remake?
I do not like it at all. Sorry.
Really?
Amanda
Mhm.
hates it.
Yeah,
I
well,
like
she's smart.
it as a movie goes, but I don't. I don't. It's definitely not.
I was
as
gonna say
good.
I thought the Friday the 13th remake was way better done than the.
I agree. I agree with that, and I don't know if it's because that I'm not as big a fan of Jason, so I'll let more slide and say like, "Oh, that's all right." Whereas if you're really hardcore Jason, then you'll have like rules and like, "Wow, he would never do
Right.
that."
Well,
I don't know.
I felt like the they captured the menacing nature of Jason really
Yeah.
well on the remake compared
I
to like the
thought-
rest of the movie. Whatever.
I thought it was a decent remake of the Friday, and I think that they just reinvented him enough to where he's still familiar and all that stuff.
Right.
And they
But
added something.
They tried to do it shot for shot, essentially, with Nightmare, and they didn't do.
My God, it sucked.
Like I feel
It's
like if they
just-
would have kind of rebooted or remade, but not
Yeah.
tried to.
I mean, the
exactly
thing is, I mean, they. I mean, I'm sorry for everybody who likes the remake, but it sucked. It was just so badly done. I think. I mean, I remember the first time I watched it. After I'd done watching it, I was like, "Wait, did I even watch anything?"
Right.
It was just gone from my memory completely. It was so unremarkable.
Well, the revamped Freddy too was more of a monster than like a burn victim. You know what I mean? Like it didn't even have the same feel to the Robert Englund character.
No, at all. No, and it's like, and I get that Robert. He's a normal height person. He's not a huge hulking person, but Jackie, he's a little guy. So when you put makeup on a little guy, his head looks too big.
Yeah.
And then you need to put a hat on top of makeup. So all of a sudden it looks like a fucking sombrero, And he looks and the makeup. I mean, it's well sculpted, but it was not scary at all. It's like
goddamn Watchmen.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. He's a great actor. I think
absolutely.
Jackie is a great actor, absolutely. But I think that it's the director who's to blame for everything.
Right.
Really, he directed it. What are you gonna do? Yeah, directed. Probably.
Were you involved in that movie at all?
No. And the guy who made the
Good
glove.
for you.
Thank you. Yes. The guy who made the glove for the movie, he contacted me. He was like, "Hey, do you want to sell my gloves?" And I was like, "Yeah, send me one, and I'll see." And he got so offended, because so I was like, "No, I'm not going to sell anything I haven't checked out in hand before."
Sure.
And I was like, so you find somebody else to do that for him. But it was like, and then eventually, I was just like curious, like, somebody had a glove made by the guy, Joe Mack, I think, and my wife got so mad at it because it was so badly done, and I think she curled it up and threw it across the room. She like curled up the glove in a little ball and threw it across the room and thought, "That's a piece of shit." And that's one of the reasons we were married, She fucking, yeah, man. We have got the same.
Should give you some honest feedback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's like I hadn't built that glove. It was like it was like really soft, weird copper. The build was stupid. And like it was just not good. I mean, it was horrible. Everything about that movie is horrible.
Well, the way you're talking about the build makes me think that the guy is not either not that experienced in that or just I don't know, lucked out.
I don't know.
Well, sure, money, but I'm just saying, like you said, it's made out of copper, and like copper is very pretty when used correctly, but it's not a great metal for something like that.
The thing is that it's you gotta like the first movie, copper pipes, for the finger stalls, breastplate, and it's like it makes sense because okay, this guy he works in a boiler room. He's not a gardener, So they made the finger stalls out of copper, and if it's structured right, it can be strong. This is out of copper too, and I'm pretty sure I can beat an elephant with it. But the thing is, the structure of the remake glove is that it has finger caps, and then little thin strips that goes down to I don't remember what something. Oh yeah, a clasp. And then there's no structure to. It's like if you're gonna stab anything, you're gonna break your fingers.
Right.
And
that's
it's
what
like,
or the way that glove was, like that copper's not. It's not strong enough. For
right?
That.
Yeah. I mean, those strips are just for show, and it's like there's no structure. So it's like,
yeah. For a movie like that, it seems like you would need something that's able to take a beating.
Right. Exactly. 10 years ago, we were at a show, and the guy who made the original glove for the movie, he was sharing a table with us, and it's Lou Calucci, and he saw the first version of this glove actually, and he said, "Oh, that's a great design. That should have been the one in the remake." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, but like I'm kind of glad it's not because the movie stunk." So let's save it for another movie. But
so
it's like,
what's your favorite one in the series as it exists right now? Glove and movie, they might be separate. I don't
know. Favorite movie. It's it really changes a lot because because sometimes I love the first one because it's the one that started it all and it's so crude in some ways. And Freddy, he is actually like a creepy old pervy guy who would kill children, right? And that's what I love about it is that it has that creep factor. He's like, there's a fucking tooth stuck in her bedroom window from him throwing it up there. It's like, well, that's fucking creepy, Yeah, like, and that's just like that stuff that Wes Craven he put in there. It's like, it's just so creepy. You can't explain it, and that's the best. But then Nightmare 3 is great. But then I think that Nightmare 3 is a better movie. But then I love Nightmare 4 a little bit more. I think, and I'm not sure why. But it's just Freddy's a fucking superhero in that one. I'm like, sure, he kills the teenagers, whatever. But he's the one you really like. Here comes Freddy. So he's a fucking badass. And then there's New Nightmare. It jumps over there for me because that's a fucking great movie, and it's like
it was so different too.
Yeah, and it's like film art making. That's filmmaking as an art. Yeah, and I think that Wes Craven he outdid himself in like from all his movies ever. Yeah. I think that Wes Craven is his absolutely shining moment. I think it's so fucking brilliant.
Such a crazy concept. Like I don't even know how they got it like greenlit as far as stylistically and even the thought behind it was very strange and confusing if you had no idea, if you're used to the other Freddy movies. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like we're so embedded into Freddy that we's like, oh, yeah, sure. But I remember when what was it? What the fuck was that movie? The movie magazine. It was Cine Fantastique or something like that.
Okay.
And they had this painting.
The only movie magazine that I knew of that.
Yeah, Fangoria is great. No, there was a different one, and it was like I bought that back in Denmark, and it was like it had the painting of the new Freddy and Dylan and Heather on the front cover, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? That's not Freddy." You know, I was so upset at the time because I was like, "That's so far from Freddy that it was like I'm not sure I'm gonna like this." But it's such a fucking great movie, and they all once you see it, it's explained and it's well done. Um, uh, but yeah, so it's like 1, 4, and New Nightmare. I think those are my favorite ones, and then everybody. It's like all the other ones, they sort of like switch around, but it's like those three, they're always my favorites. It's which one is my favorite at the moment.
I feel like they were all kind of agree, but by the third one, which I can understand, is kind of when Robert Englund, I really feel like kind of fully hit his stride, like the character had settled,
Yeah,
and that's what the fuck it was, and
yeah,
it was a cool show. But
absolutely.
so,
Like
which is your favorite glove out of the
glove?
movies?
Oh boy, ah,
Because they were
again,
all a little different. Right?
yeah,
Each
they
movie?
are. Yeah, the only ones that had the same glove was Nightmare 1 and 2, and even from the first one to the second one, they did a couple of repairs on the first one, on the original glove, which in my mind kind of makes it a different glove because now it looks a little bit different, and so I like the Nightmare 2 glove a little bit better than the Nightmare 1 glove because it's worn in, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't remember this if they did this, but was there ever any dialogue or anything in the movie that explained why they changed from movie to movie? The glove, that is.
no, I don't. Well, I
Or you just
heard a
accept that
rumor.
Freddy is advanced.
Well, I think it's like the same with the makeup. They want a new look for every time, you know.
Okay.
I heard that the guy who directed Chuck Russell, he directed the third one. He really did not like the first glove at all, so he wanted something that was a little bit more structurally sound. So he got so there's a couple of changes there, but it's still similar to the first one. Then number 4, Lou came back, and then he decided, okay, we're going to make this out of copper sheet instead of pipes, and a couple of different details. And then I think they put on the grime to show that it's been used so much, you know, and that makes it more organic. And it's one of my favorite gloves, Nightmare 4. It's just so interesting looking.
Well, that's the thing about Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, and it works great.
Well, the interesting thing and the cool thing about having a villain or a character like Freddy Krueger that exists in a dream state is a lot of those things can evolve and change
Exactly.
as the movies progress. Like they're not locked down to he's a physical being, and you don't have to have a reason for shit changing because he is existing in this realm that he's gonna fucking kill your ass in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that by the 4th movie they had like a whole box full of gloves, apparently.
Yeah.
So that you see them switching. Like there's just the pizza scene where he eats the pizza. They used 3 different gloves just for that short scene.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I just had one in my hand like last month or something like that. The screen used one that was used for like a second in that scene, and I knew that because Carl Beagle, he made it, and he told me when I visited this shop like 10 years ago. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's a glove for the pizza scene. I made that," and so I knew exactly when I got that in my hands. And I got the story. I was like, "Oh, this guy bought it from Carl Beagle. He said it was in the pizza scene." I was like, "Yep, that fits." In that second, like 1 second in that scene, and then it's like switches.
That shit I will never notice. Like,
yeah,
I will now.
Nobody does. No, nobody does. There's like but you have to know until, and then there's another guy who has a different scene and a different glove that was also using Freddy's Dead and Nightmare 4, and that was also used there. And there's only like behind the scenes pictures of that glove, I think. So they just grabbed the glove. And it's like, okay, now we're gonna shoot again. Grab a glove, boom, and so they keep doing that. Yeah, it's kind of it's weird. It's fun, but
I want to see him take the remake and make a shot for shot of all the fucking sequels, so you could just have one big fucking pile of shit that you compare.
Oh God. So, what is Robert Englund? What is he like? Because he really seems to have embraced that. He's embraced what he means to a lot of people, and he's not. I hate to put him in the Freddie box because he's done more stuff than just Freddie.
Oh yeah.
Just Maryland Industry. But he definitely seems to know that people view him as this, and he's embraced that. And he seems to be. I mean, obviously, I've never met him, but I mean, he seems to have embraced that and be fine with that. Well, what is he? What is Robert Englund like? Honestly,
he's great. He's seriously super, super great. We all love him. We met him several times, hung out at his place. Him and Nancy, they're just like the greatest people. There's like years back, one of the first times I was visiting them, and she was like, Nancy, she's so wonderful. And we were like buying art supplies because he would need to upgrade his Freddy's Victim book that I'd given him like some years ago. The new fans needed to go into the book, so I was art supply shopping and she was like, oh, he's like practically family. You get him the family discount. So since then we've been the bastard family, Robert Englund's bastard family. So we call him bastard mom and dad, and Nancy keeps saying it doesn't work like that. But no, they're so sweet. They're like, I can't say anything bad about them whatsoever because they're just so fucking nice, and they're they love their fans. Like Robert, he will, at shows they have to move the line along.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and that's because that they're at the shows they need to say like, okay, well, we need to have this X amount of people and we need to move the line so people don't stand outside for like 2 hours, whatever. Right. Which Glad will stand outside 2 hours, but he will talk to anybody and he will be genuinely interested in anybody's story, and he's like, I'm not bullshitting because I'm a fan, but like. He's the only person I've ever seen in my entire life who will not get sick of fans, and he'll really listen and he'll really care for each fan, and it's like, and sometimes he'll like, I have to go, and then somebody will say like, oh, he was a shit, he brushed me off, but like, no, that means that he really had to go, and I've seen people like come up with their stories and the things, and he'll like actively take an interest in everything they show, and they're just they're really nice people. They are really nice people.
That is nice to hear. It's nice to someone that's got that kind of impact on people that actually does.
Yeah, and the thing is like, the whole thing with the. What was I going to say? I forgot now, but
that's okay.
Cheers.
Do you know if he was? Cheers. Do you know?
I feel like I derailed him by calling Jay a cunt. Like I feel like I kind of.
Do you? Feel
okay. Cheers to Jay too.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm wearing his shirt today.
Oh shit!
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What does that say? Well, what does it say?
We're gonna do it anyway.
Of course.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So,
for whenever somebody's not ready and says, "Well, we're gonna do it anyway."
Right. Yeah. So, do you know if Robert was consulted at all on the remake?
No, nobody was.
Nobody.
They went behind every. Wow. Not even Johnny Depp. No. Just
most people don't know that was the first movie Johnny Depp was
in. They went behind Wes Craven's back. They went behind Robert Englund's back. They just did their own thing, and then of course it flopped because there wasn't. Yeah,
even worse.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
I don't
horrible.
understand why in the world you wouldn't at least have a conversation with Wes Craven about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Englund for that matter
Well,
to get
yeah,
his input.
but-
Because
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why Jackie wouldn't have the conversation
Right.
with Robert Englund, but I
Yeah.
don't know why your director or writer, anyone wouldn't at least talk to Wes Craven, even if you don't hire him on as a consultant, just to have the conversation with him.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because he's a talented motherfucker.
Oh, and see, yeah,
damn it.
I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
your horror people really. I don't hear. You're deep into the horror, then yeah, his name probably comes up. But when I hear people talk about movies, I don't ever hear anyone bring up Wes Craven.
Really?
I hear Hitchcock. I hear what's the Birds and Psycho. I can't think of his name.
That is Hitchcock.
I'm sorry. Then there's somebody else I'm trying to think of. Then I'm completely mixing them up now. Regardless, I don't hear Wes Craven's name
Obviously,
come up.
Jerry Bruckheimer, one of the
Sure.
greatest filmmakers of our generation.
Sure, but I don't hear Wes Craven's name come up when I
what's
hear
his
people
name?
talk about movies and directors and things. I don't hear
Who's the guy who made Transformers?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Yeah.
Bay. Yes.
You guys want explosions? I'll give you fucking explosions.
Right. But yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't consult. I don't, why Jackie wouldn't talk to Robert Englund, but why the director, writer, any of them wouldn't talk to Wes Craven about any of that. So it's insane that they wouldn't.
That is insane.
Because they know what they would have said.
Well, maybe
That's probably true. That is probably true.
Well, but I mean, talk to them before you make the movie, and then take
You
their advice.
But that's what I'm saying.
And then they could have made a better movie.
That's the thing, because I don't think they would have deterred them or told them not to make the movie. I think they would have given them some advice and some pointers, and like, this is where we should have done something different, or where we would, if we did it now, we would do it differently, and then it would have been a movie. But, and I was going to ask you what Robert's opinion was on it, but I don't want you to put words in his mouth. So never.
No, it's I think that I actually remember talking to we were talking about the remake in his kitchen at one point. That was before the movie actually came out, and he thought, "Oh yeah, I think that Jackie can really put his own spin on Freddy," And he fucking just like jumped on the kitchen table and like he can be more impish or something like that, because like, and he was just like we always make this joke that whenever Robert tells a story, he's like swinging from chandeliers and doing trapeze shots and shit, because he's so cartoony, like he's so animated when he talks and tells stories because he's so involved in it. But it's like, yeah, he had I think he had higher hopes for it. I never heard anything bad coming out. And like Robert, he won't diss anybody.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's gonna.
He's not gonna shit on it.
No, he won't. No, he's fortunate. I know he feels fortunate to have been Freddy, because like he says, Hollywood has been good to me,
Yeah.
So he's not gonna shit on them. Like,
well, they couldn't have cast a better
No, I don't think
actor for that role.
No,
I mean,
I
I'll be brave enough at some point to invite him to be a guest on the podcast. At some point, I'll be brave enough, but I feel like that's a quick no right now.
I just email everybody.
No, I know. I know. Yeah.
I get turned down so much. I've gotten fuck nose. It's fantastic.
Have you? Who said fuck no?
I'll have to look back through the email.
That's fine. That'd be great to just. That's what we should do sometimes.
Yeah, maybe you should do an episode where you just read up all the fuck no's.
That's it.
And then like, okay, Jackie Chan, fuck no. Keanu Reeves, fuck no. Like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Maybe
my dream is Ryan Reynolds. He's the one dude that if he was like, "Hey, would you suck my dick?" I'd be like, "Yes, please." that line is for me. And you know what? Amanda would probably be like, "Okay, just this once."
Would she say after me?
Yeah, exactly.
No, she doesn't like Ryan Reynolds.
I understand that. I mean, after me.
Oh, okay. My wife, her
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is her
really?
number one. She's super hot, and I'm like, that doesn't say much for me.
No, it absolutely does.
All right.
What would you say about my wife is really into Michael B. Jordan?
It says you're no Michael B. Jordan.
Well,
you can't.
It says a lot more than just I'm not Michael B. Jordan.
You can't dunk a basketball.
Yeah, you're right. I can't.
So, do you have a favorite horror franchise? I mean, outside of Nightmare, obviously.
Yeah, I was just about to say like, yeah, horror. Yeah, you know what? Texas
what the
Chainsaw.
fuck have we been talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, Texas Chainsaw, I like that, but it's like I only like 3 movies out of the whole thing. But I think that's my. If it's a franchise, I think that's still my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, the original Texas Chainsaw was creepy as fuck.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
just
exactly. Yeah,
disturbing, I guess.
and then the second one is just goofy balls. It's like fucking crazy shit. But I love it. It's a total detour from the first one, but I just love that whole thing with Leatherface and the chainsaw and the crazy family. And then the third one, I even like that one. And it's like, it was just called Leatherface and it had Viggo Mortensen in it as Tex, I think his name was.
Which one is the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger?
That was the fourth one. The fourth one, yeah.
What was it called? Was it Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4? Or was it like?
It was 4, yeah. It was called something else though. It was called Texas.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was something else. Yeah. Anyway,
something.
See, I feel like
I didn't really like that one. I was really looking forward to it, but then I was like, man, I didn't like that one. And then I was like
the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then I'm not talking about the premise is different, but the vibe of it, you wouldn't have like The Hills Have Eyes.
Right.
Zombie shit. I feel like there is a lot.
Right. Yes.
Of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think also in the second one, there's also a lot of zombie style vibes in it.
Yeah.
I think that's when you look at House of 1,000 Corpses, then they got all the fucking Christmas lights down the tunnels, just like in Texas Chainsaw 2. And of course, Bill Moseley's fucking in it. So like, there's definitely that vibe in it. And the whole taxidermy approach, Fish Boy, or the guy from The Office, whatever. So it's like, it's no. I think there's something really great in the 3 first Texas Chainsaw movies that is uniquely different from each movie, but it's equally ridiculous and creepy. And so those are the ones I would probably pick.
I don't know, the end scene with him dancing around and slinging a chainsaw on the road is a little strange, but it matches.
But that was the movie.
Okay, there's a whole thing there, and it's like, and I know my wife's favorite franchise above all is Subspecies, and they're directed by Ted Nicolau. Ted Nicolau was a sound guy on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's a little weird connection there. Yeah, but the thing is that in Texas Chainsaw 1, Leatherface, he wore a face that fitted the occasion, and that nobody ever did that again. Yeah. Why? I mean, he literally put on the face for the occasion. Like he was a pretty lady when he was serving dinner. He had his hunter mask. Like nobody ever did that again. Yeah, and I just think that's like what?
That is interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah, and that's that says something that's
Texas Chainsaw Massacre tonight.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like talking about Rob Zombie. Like I think he's great at what he does, but if you watch, but a lot of people that watch his movie, I shouldn't say people, younger people that watch his movies aren't familiar with all the older stuff, and he borrows heavily from a lot of
very heavily stuff. Yes.
Yeah. And again, I don't mean that as
I think that Rob Zombie has probably admitted that before, that he wears his influences on his sleeves,
Yeah.
Because like it's pretty obvious when you look at it, and
House of 1,000 Corpses and The Devil's Rejects were really good movies.
Yeah, I think so too.
House of 1,000 Corpses still freaks me out to this day. The ending of the movie still freaks me out. But his his remake version, Jesus Christ, now I can't think.
Super bad.
Halloween?
Yeah, Halloween. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but that wasn't very good. It was not.
Well, it wasn't really a reboot. It wasn't a remake.
Right.
But regardless, it wasn't very good.
Well, I think they said supposedly it wiped out the rest of canon and was supposed to pick up right after Halloween 2, I think, or first one.
Yeah, it just wasn't very. I'm not going to call it an awful movie, but it wasn't very good. But
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in that one.
No, she was not.
She was not in that one.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't think so. but anyway,
that's a bad argument.
I'm saying that to say that
you stay out of this, goddamn.
His original two movies were very good, but then his Halloween reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it, was not very good. I did like the most recent Halloween.
That's the one I was talking
with Jamie Lee Curtis. I did enjoy that one.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah. And I'll be honest.
Here's the thing that I think that Rob Zombie he totally he didn't get Michael Myers right, and then that's where everything falls apart.
Right.
You know, Michael Myers is supposed to be a regular looking guy basically, but he's just absolute pure evil on the inside. You know, that was the original thought that John Carpenter had. Where when then you go back and then explain why this guy is bad, then you have a regular serial killer on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it totally destroys. It's kind of like if you have a guy walking around killing kids in the neighborhood without doing it in their dreams. You know,
right?
You don't have the concept of what that killer is.
Right.
I think that's sort of what happened with Halloween. But I think that if he had just made this movie about a totally different killer, a big dude with long hair who was in a mental institution and started killing people, then you'd have a decent movie if it wasn't Michael Myers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that actually stands for a lot of movies that tend to get rebooted. If they use the same concept but change the focus, I think it would improve them greatly.
I think so too.
Like with the new, I say new now, but with the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, had they not tried to base like, hey, this present the same fucking movie and had a different type of angle. Now, I'm not saying that would have made the movie, but it would have had the potential to be a much better movie than trying to pass it off as a complete, reboot of a classic. Because when you say, hey, this is almost a shot-for-shot remake of this fucking quintessential horror movie franchise, then you're just asking for a shit show.
Did you see the Child's Play reboot?
Oh no,
that was 100% dog shit. It was so bad. Like
I haven't seen it for that reason. I keep hearing it.
I get what you guys are saying about the new Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, whatever you want to call it, was not good. But I can take that and separate it from Nightmare on Elm Street and watch it and enjoy it. This new Child's Play movie is just terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, well, they completely changed the premise for the most part.
They did. I mean, they made it modern. They made it for this time period as far as like technology and things like that.
Well, see, that's the only thing that makes sense because everything is fucking Apple products these days. So, like, if you have a Chucky doll, it's going to be connected to Apple and it's going to fucking connect to Alexa or whatever. You know,
but they took away the possession. They took that entire part away from it and just
really
fucking programming. Yeah. So the whole concept that first was based on it's possessed by this fucking serial killer and murder people. It ruins all of it. Then because it's basically just a killer robot.
Well, I looked at it as a new spin on the possession because less stuff nowadays really gets into spiritual things anymore, and it was more of a possession of bad programming from the guy.
But to me, that takes away what the soul
I get what you're saying.
The movie was.
I get what you're saying. I just think they tried to modernize everything about it, even the possession.
That's true. I think there's a really, really. I think there's a deeper truth there because I think that if you go back like 10, 20 years, we like having demons and voodoo and stuff like that, and now I think that people are more afraid of technology.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why that change is happening.
But even if where the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I can take it away from that franchise and enjoy the movie. I can take the new Child's Play away from the Child's Play franchise, and it's still a dog shit movie.
Oh,
it's still bad.
But that is interesting, that concept of people being more afraid of technology now than they are of other things. I mean, I think that speaks a lot of where we've evolved, like from a religious standpoint, for sure. Because you still have movies like The Conjuring and that franchise that are solely focused on that. But the concept of having technology separated from spirituality is a very interesting thing.
I think so.
He just
And like,
yeah.
yeah, right. It's something I didn't really think about before, but I think it's very true. I think it's because you had like, let's bring up Wes Craven again, Serpent and the Rainbow, right? About voodoo.
Mhm.
It's all spiritual, and then you have Jacob's Ladder, which is a creepy ass horror film. But it involves like was it Agent Orange or something with voodoo and religion and afterlife and all that stuff. And we are going further away from that unless it's like something like you said, Conjuring, where it's strictly Christianity and demons,
Right.
and then you go into that realm. But I think that we're seeing less and less of the spirituality and more of killer robots and shit like that. I think that's an interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but it's certainly a trend.
No, it's true. Well, that's one thing that fascinated me about the Babadook when it was out. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
But it focused heavily on psychological, like mental illness, which is a big trend now as well. To me, that's what that movie was. Like the lady basically created her own hell from her own grief. Like that shit's
great.
That's super fucking interesting. Like we really.
I think so too. I liked it. Yeah, and then it showed up accidentally in the gay category, and that's a gay icon.
He said it. I said that right before he did.
About separation of religion and technology.
I said we've come away from religion, and now it's evil programming, not spiritual.
You were talking
possession.
about the goddamn movie specifically for child play.
That's what he was talking about.
He was talking about in general, the general observation of that.
Yeah,
separation.
but he's using my example
Fuck
of child's
you.
play. Oh my god!
You were just a springboard for the good idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You piece of shit.
That's fine.
I hate you.
I know you do. That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
He's now regretting agreeing to come on here.
Yeah, probably.
That happened a long time ago.
Well done, sir.
He's just watching the clock at this point.
Oh God. Well, did you have anything? I mean, we're getting close to 2 hours anyway.
Yeah.
So.
No, like I'm now like in my own little world thinking about that contrast. It's fucking insane to me. Because we both grew up in very religious backgrounds, like a lot of belief in demons and angels and all that shit. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I wanted to make the joke, but I wasn't sure if he would get it earlier when I said, "Do you guys pray evil spirits into those gloves before you sell them and send them out?" Because we were taught that. We were taught that the people that make these products put witchcraft and spells on the products before they get sent out, so that you will get possessed by demons. Nice. Maybe you weren't taught that. I was absolutely
not to that degree, but yeah, that's conceptually that's an absolute fucking truth.
Yeah, that's 100%. And that witches go into the stores and pray evil spells over the product that are on the shelf at Walmart or whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fucking crazy.
It is crazy, but I was taught that 100%.
See, I would have been taught just by wanting to own something that is representative of evil.
Well, I would have been made to feel bad by saying, "Why would you want to have?"
Here's the thought I have, and for a long time, I was like, okay, so you go around saying like, okay, well, people go around like saying like, ooh, evil people are gonna do whatever, right? But here, okay, from what I see that in the Bible, there's Satan go around like tempting people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So basically, hear me out. Here's the one who's going around saying like, okay, ooh, look at this. Don't you want to do that? But it's basically up to you whether you want a piece of shit and do it, right? Yes. He's sort of like a quality controller. Right?
Yeah, that's funny. That's great.
Right? Though.
Yeah,
yeah, right. And then it's like, and then you go to hell, and it's like, you fell for my fucking bullshit. Now you're gonna be punished. And I'm like, because I'm basically, he punishes bad people. Doesn't that make him a good guy?
So what you're saying is you don't drip baby blood onto each glove before it goes out. That's what I'm gathering. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I would have shit myself and be like, oh yeah, we absolutely pray over these things before we send them out. I'm like,
yeah, sure.
All the time we've got tonight.
No, it is funny coming out of that because how old were you when you first like realized that this is a bunch of fucking horse shit?
I was older than I should have been. I'm sure. Yeah, I was older than I should have been. Yeah. Like
anyway,
but
there's a lot of man created rules and things and theories that go into that I realized after I vomited up the Kool-Aid.
Well, that's one thing I do find interesting about really growing up anywhere outside of the South Midwest maybe, but there's not nearly as much of a quote unquote spiritual
awakening.
Insistence that goes in, like forced upon kids. Like I don't know.
Well, the South is really big into scaring people into heaven.
Yeah, for sure. But I have heard people in my family say, you want to be like one of them godless Europeans that don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, nude beaches. Yeah, I want to be like them.
Right? Yeah. Them goddamn socialists. They don't love Jesus or freedom.
Right.
Hey, Jesus was a socialist.
More or less. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close to it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I bet he wouldn't have hated Mexicans.
I'll tell you what, though, he was a Democratic socialist.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yes, Jesus was a Democratic socialist. That's absolutely true. Yes, because he's like, he literally said that if a rich man has less of a chance to go into heaven than a camel through a needle's eye, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that's like, I'm sorry, but here we're going political, but it's like, who the fuck are pretending to be Christian more than anybody? Fucking rich people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Southerners.
No, not Southerners. No, just in general, like rich people. They love to go around pretending to be Christian. Yeah. And it's like, well, why don't you fucking give your money away then? Right? To people who need it. Well, they don't want to do that. No, it's fine.
Then the whole justification, they start picking verses. I'm like, well, if they had more faith, if they worked harder, they could have money like me.
Oh, fuck you.
God don't. Yeah, I know.
I know, right? Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. No, the thing is because who believes hardest in God ever? Like, whether he's real or not, whatever. Like, it's for the most part poor people, right?
Yeah.
Often.
Well, it's like you love your neighbor unless they're a minority or gay, or in a class below you.
Sure.
Yeah.
As long as in your church you love them, that's fine.
Right. Yeah. It's such bullshit.
No, it is. It absolutely is. My parents have a hard time. Like, they still like they'll go in, and I'm realizing the older I get now, like you guys, and not like we've talked about this before. They're not overtly like, but it's more that subtle, like, well, them Mexicans or them, they do this or like that, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys, you're claiming Christianity and praying for, like, you'll pray for them people that they come to know the Lord like you think they should know the Lord, not that you want them to be better or to help them out or
right. Yeah. Jeez.
It's like, or only American citizens are deserving of the blessings of the Lord.
Because Jesus wasn't an American, obviously.
If they ain't going through the right channels to be citizens, I don't give a shit if they're just trying to help their family. Fuck them.
Right, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? Like, they always have this thing of like, Mexicans are coming to steal our jobs. And it's like, what? You could take that job if you wanted to, but you don't want to pick out avocados for like $5 an hour, do you?
Right, absolutely.
And then there was a fucking thing where it's like, where was it? There was somewhere where they said, okay, we're gonna stop all immigrant workers and all that stuff, and it's like avocado farms went to shit because nobody wants to do that. Yeah, and it's like you be fucking happy that you have people who want to do this shit, Right. And they're like, and they should be paid more. Yeah, hell yeah. But
I've known people that they needed a job but wouldn't take a job at like a fast food place or landscaping because it was beneath them.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
What's wrong with
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. This is not a thing is beneath you. It's like you may think that you have a better chance of getting a better paid job, and then that's that's up to you, whatever. But like no job is beneath any other job.
No.
That's how I see it. Because
your job, you fucking take a job. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
right? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that every single fucking person in America. Well, okay, sorry, not the 1%, but like most people have had like a job at like what do you call it? Like a what do you call those cashier people? I had that job too. I forgot what it's called.
Cashiers.
Like customer service.
Yeah, cashiers. Yeah,
Customer
store
service,
clerks or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You're
sure.
like, yeah, it sucks, you know, and it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, but it's like everybody's been there. It's like, but it's fucking vital. Where would we be if nobody would have that job?
right.
Right?
But God damn it, they don't deserve health care unless they fucking
Right.
get a degree.
Those bastards. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell's wrong with everybody? You'd be happy that people take that job so you don't have to. So you can actually
Sure.
take out your fucking groceries. You know?
Right.
Like, stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know, man.
If you would have given me 10 guesses, I would have never guessed that we would talk about this tonight.
Hey, I'm good.
Right,
No, I
that's
know.
true. Yeah. From,
I am as well.
yeah. Hey, man,
Well,
I guess where it goes.
My family, my sister texted me the other day. She goes, "You don't really believe that liberal bullshit y'all talk about, do you?" And I'm like, "I fucking do."
What liberal?
The fact that we believe that everyone should be treated
Fairly?
Equal and fairly?
Yeah.
No, goddamn, no, man.
Well,
I'm special.
We were talking about the virtue, or like how
Because we actually believe that Black Lives Matter?
that's that, and well, that was what she brought up. She was like, "Y'all don't support BLM." I was like, "No, I support that
What?
Black Lives Matter," and there
Yes.
is a disproportionate amount of Black people that get killed by police. I think that's fucking wrong.
That
Why
is
do you
fucking
have
wrong,
a
yeah.
problem?
Right.
Right? I
I
mean,
mean, you can
I
not like the
just-
political or social group Black Lives Matter and still like the phrase and support what's
yeah,
behind it.
yeah. And the
Well,
thing is that right now,
Well,
I
there's-
fucking understand why there is a political movement because, I mean, come on. A guy got shot for having an air freshener in his car.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
come on, that's not
it was
right.
Probably new car scent, which is the worst of all the
Oh.
scents. So
That was a thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, but it's so weird because it drives me crazy trying to talk to them. But they want to have a talk with me next time I'm home about my salvation. So that's gonna be fun.
Oh, boy.
I'm saving up for it.
But well, the thing is I have a better background in this. Like I can go point for point with fucking any of them. So
Mhm.
I'm excited about this conversation.
Which is great. I
Yeah.
know.
I'll have a Black Lives Matter conversation with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Tell them to call in.
They won't listen.
No, they won't.
But yeah, it's insane. Like my dad, weirdly enough, is much more open minded to this stuff.
Sure.
Like he's crass and like
Yeah.
whatever, but he's at least open minded. My mom and sister, fuck no.
That's crazy.
Those an exact quote. Those people are just weird.
What?
people?
Exactly.
What?
All righty.
Yep.
Interesting.
But I do find, and I think, and I know this is super off topic, but a lot of people indirectly, it's not as much a racism thing as it is. What's the right way to put it? It's a lack of understanding of another culture. So
Ignorance.
there,
That's part of it, but it's also a political. One political
I'm
side
not-
supports it more than the
I'm
other.
Not, I'm not talking about.
No, I understand that, but I'm
politicals.
saying immediately, if the opposite political side of you supports something nowadays, because the part of it,
Okay,
the
but-
media is to blame for part of it, but I'm saying like you immediately have to be anti whatever the
But
opposite
that's
political
not
side
what I'm
of it
talking
is.
about. That's not
Yeah.
at
I
all.
understand, but that's part of what their issue.
No, no,
is.
no, no,
That's
no.
true.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
so
saying.
too. There is
but
this
what-
weird. There is a really weird split going on right now, where people will have like do this, and then the other party will just like go the opposite direction, and then some
Right.
weird.
Yeah,
Right. I've noticed that
Yeah.
too. I can't
It
explain
happens
it,
on
but
both sides
it's
of the aisle. If
certainly
the
happening.
Republicans support something, the Democrats have to immediately go 180 away from it, and then the same thing that the
Yeah.
Republicans do the same thing for one. Even
Even
if
if it doesn't make
10
sense.
minutes, even if 10 minutes ago you supported it, if soon
Yeah.
as the left picks it up, the right has to go the
Yeah.
opposite direction and vice versa.
See, what I was talking about was not on a political. I'm talking about on a one-on-one stance, right, on an individual. And I think a lot of what gets construed as, not all by any means, but like what a lot of gets construed as racism is more culturalism. I guess
Sure.
it's like I don't have an issue with the color of their skin, but I have an issue with the way that they do life.
Yeah.
And that's weird, and that freaks me out. And I think
Mhm.
that's wrong.
Sure.
So it's not so much about race as much as it is like their culture is different than mine, and their culture is fucking wrong. It's
That
more
makes
of
some
that.
fucking good tacos, though.
Yeah, it's like I'll eat the
Yeah, no,
shitty
right?
fucking- yeah.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's the
It's
case with a lot
culturalism
of
instead of racism. Yeah, I can sort of see that. Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely racism. I'm not denying
yeah.
that at all.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
fruit is a
Yeah.
cultural difference that is either feared or not understood, and
That's what
therefore
I was
leads
going to
to
say is a lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also a bit of no willingness to try to
absolutely
understand.
not argue with that. Well, like, but you have people like my grandfather that was overtly racist. Like he was he's the most racist human being I've ever known.
Sure, but I also think that you could go back to when he was a kid and say the same thing.
Well,
There's
you
a
can-
lack of that cultural
Right,
understanding.
but at some point you have to be held accountable as like you're not a kid anymore, and like
I agree
okay,
with that.
I'm an
completely
adult
agree
now,
with
and I realize kind
But-
of like being raised in the church.
Yeah, but like there was segregation and all that stuff. So it's like
Right.
it is in a way, I think it is like a little bit of a. It's the way you brought up, just like you
Right.
brought up to believe in there's this super duper white Jesus,
Right.
and stuff like that. It's like you're brought up to it, and it happens when you're really young,
Mhm.
so it gets really deep into your brain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's the
Right,
same
but-
thing with like, we were brought up to like certain things like, Republicans, blah blah blah, and white people do this, and then like, and then there's blacks and Mexicans, and then they're weird, and then it's like, and they all just want to go over the border and steal our jobs and whatever they want to do. I don't know.
Yeah,
Instead
but
of
but I do think at some point you're responsible for opening your own mind up enough to realize.
Absolutely.
and
You're
I get, like-
responsible for always having an open mind. I think it doesn't matter where you come from, what you do, or what color you are, or anything. You're supposed to have an open mind for everybody around you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like as an example, my grandmother and grandfather's super racist. My grandmother, if you spoke with her, like the language she used would have been considered very racist, but she like had like a few of the guys she worked with, black guys, they loved her to death. She got along with, like, she never treated anybody like her
Right.
language was how she grew up.
Yeah.
But her actions and her mindset did not reflect that whatsoever. My grandfather, on the other hand, was full blown like whatever. And when my grandmother died, she had one of her coworkers that she loved to death, black guy, I can't remember his name, and wanted him to be a pallbearer at her funeral. And her joke was, when she was on her deathbed, he came to see her, and she said, "I carried your ass at work for 20 years. You can carry my ass for an hour."
Sure.
But when the funeral time came, my grandfather said, "I ain't having no black man carrying my wife," and would not let him. And I was like, that is some fucked up shit.
Oh yeah.
And
Right.
that's the difference.
Sure.
That is
I-
that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Anyway,
true.
that
There's
was
like
a situation.
it's kind of like also Archie Bunker. He's like he grew up, but it's like he's not. He's brought up in an old fashioned
He's
way,
a product of the circumstances.
right,
he grew up with.
exactly. Whereas he wanted Sammy Davis Jr.'s autograph, and he's like, "Oh, sit in my chair."
Right.
Right. It's not that he wasn't racist. He was a product of the time,
Yes.
Right.
and I think that's a lot of the time. And it's like for instance, your grandma, and there's a difference between those two for sure. And also, like, now we have switching slightly gears.
Yeah.
But the like you said, the Democrats and Republicans, they're like always like whatever they do, we're gonna do the opposite, whether it makes sense or not. And I think that's true. And that's like they always take the extremes, because the extremes are always the most visible and the most heard, because they're the ones who shout the loudest. So you have the absolute crazy, Republicans, and then they have the crazy liberals on the other side, and none of them make a leg of sense,
No.
And so it's like you gotta fucking meet in the middle, and I think that's exactly why Joe Biden, he got voted in, because he's not neither.
Right.
There's stuff about him that I don't like, and then there's stuff about him I like. But it's like I think that we had such a big split that there's like, all right, we can agree on that guy,
Yeah.
And it's like, and hopefully we can agree on more things in the future.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
sure.
it's going to get worse.
That's possible. I hope
I'm
not.
a
I think it's
nihilist.
fucking bad right now. I hope it doesn't
Right.
get worse.
I enjoy the train wreck and seeing everything crumble. Like I always joke that like every great society, Rome, Greek, whatever, everybody has a toppling point. Everything at some point crashes down. And I
That's
feel
true.
like we're getting near that point of seeing
And
America.
that is true. If you look at, I think it's Iran or Iraq 30 years ago, like in the 1990s or something like that, or maybe earlier. But it kind of looked like America at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, one person took over, created a whole lot of shit, and then they, and then now it's a fucking war zone and everything will look like shit.
Yep. Well,
And I think that's what I'm afraid is going to happen here.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people tout democracy as the greatest form of government ever, but it's also the youngest form of government ever. Like historically, the longest reigning, most peaceful and prosperous governments have been fucking monarchies.
Yeah. I would say that the democracy is the best, but it maybe.
I got one thing to say to that. Denmark is the oldest kingdom in the world.
Really?
And we've always had democracy.
Really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected.
There you go.
Yeah, you do.
I was just thinking about Chinese dynasties and, does it predate Israel?
I don't know. It's the oldest kingdom. That's all I know.
Because their king was Jesus.
Oh.
Still is. I'll say was. He still is.
Yeah, right.
Yesterday, today, and forever.
I bet you had no idea what the fuck you were walking into tonight, did you, my friend?
Hey, man. Like we said, keep an open mind.
Right?
Yeah. And that's what I did. Kept an open mind.
All right. So
is it that time?
Have fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many. I could sit and have this conversation all night long.
I just want to hang out with him at some kind of fucking con.
I do too.
Hey, man, we're so looking forward to like whenever show's gonna open back up. Well, like, man, we could, we'll announce where we'll fucking be.
Yeah, and I'll come see you as long as I don't have to drive that far.
Yeah, same.
So as far as cons go, just to jump back on this, I'm just curious. Like, I'm assuming you travel around and go to quite a few.
We do. Yes, we used to. Well, before the pandemic. Yeah.
You ever hit Dragon Con in Atlanta?
Yes, we did. Actually, yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That one's drivable.
Yeah, that's close to us. That's 3.5
we did Dragon Con. We because we've got a friend in Atlanta. He's actually the guy who does my my blades. Eric Anthony. He was on Fortune Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got this. What's it called? Screen captured. He rents out props to like big shows like The Walking Dead, and he does props on the side, and he's really cool. Yeah, Eric Anthony Leong, and he was on Fortune Fire. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's in Atlanta, so that's where we did Dragon Con. But we go pretty much everywhere because we also did Crypticon in was that Missouri? I don't know, but like we do California. We went to Tennessee. We went to Chicago, New Jersey, all sorts of places.
I was gonna say you have the Renaissance Festival, but I don't know how much that would fall under.
It's fanboy something.
I've never been to Renaissance. Nope.
Yeah,
never been there.
They're doing it actually this year. That the tickets just went on sale.
Yeah, I'd like to do one, but no, never done one before.
I don't think there's a big demand for murder gloves.
No, sure.
Only torture weapons.
Swords and shit. Right.
On Elm Street, you put Freddy in
medieval
1600s Europe.
Jesus.
Yeah, why not?
You know what? That could be interesting.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Why not?
Everybody knows nobody dreamed back then. The only thing they dreamed about was price.
They had no dreams. They couldn't afford it.
They were just going to wake up and be peasants the next day.
They just dreamt of turnips. That's all.
Yeah. So, you got anything you want to plug? Anywhere we can send people to go to see your stuff? Buy your
Yeah.
stuff, Werepups
Yes.
and
Werepups.com. Werepups on Facebook and Instagram. Nightmare Gloves on Facebook and Instagram. And because nightmaregloves.com is under construction. It's been forever. But Trick or Treat Studios. Look up Freddy Gloves, Nightmare Gloves, whatever they're called. Replica Freddy Glove, it says. So yeah, they're pretty. They're actually pretty cool. So I recommend them. Yeah, and otherwise send me a message on Facebook, Instagram for all my custom made shit. And then we have Dogged Studios for weird masks and creepy shit. I think that's about it. Yeah. Looking around to see inspiration. Oh yeah, Camp Killer. Fun flick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw all these links and shit in our episode description stuff so people can
say
click and go.
Yeah.
Well,
Then
you do all of the stuff.
Yeah, and if you want really cool knives, go to this guy.
Oh,
That's
good
right.
full Nelson. That's awesome.
Yeah, no. Niels knives.
Yeah. Right.
If you want to stab your neighbor.
My son asked him if he would make him some ninja stars.
I saw that. Did he make some ninja stars for him?
No, I don't think so. I
No.
think he has better to do with his time. But,
I thought that was great.
So have you ever been punched in the butthole?
I have not. No, I have not. No.
What Steven's
I'll have
done.
to ask my brother because he actually, I think he might be moving to China. So there's a big risk of him being punched in the butthole.
I think
So-
that's the initiation to moving to China. Is the punch in the
That's how
butthole.
you get COVID.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's great. So I'm going to ask Peter. It's like, oh, you're going to get punched in the butthole, huh? Yeah. Moving to China. The big butthole. Or the thousand, what was it? 1,000-year death? Or...
That's 1,000 years to 1,000 years death.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No offense to Chinese people. I love China. And my he's married to a Chinese girl, so, and both his kids are like half Chinese,
So
so
he knows that move well.
Yeah.
Well, all right, my friend. Hey, if you don't mind,
This was
hanging-
great.
Oh,
It was great
yeah.
to talk to you. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
this is a really great conversation.
it was fun.
I was gonna say.
Oh, and I was going to say, if you want to hang on just line a couple seconds, we can chat with you after we go offline, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Right.
I think my
Thanks
phone's
so
about
much.
to die, but sure, I'll hang on
Yeah.
for as long as it lasts.
So next week we're broadcasting early.
5 o'clock.
We're
Eastern.
broadcasting at 5 o'clock Eastern because we're doing just juxtaposition debate
From London.
from London. Oh, London town.
We're going to have some tea.
Fucking commies.
No, they're super
No.
great. No, they're super cool dudes.
Yeah. We're having them on, but in an effort to be cognizant of the time difference, we're doing it 5 p.m. Eastern. So
Yep.
next Saturday.
That's nice of you.
And then the week after that,
Right?
Easy
We're
is
super sweet like that.
Easy is back in 2 weeks.
Fucking easy.
Easy. He'll be actually be in here with us.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So that's it. Until next week.
All right.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.